Drive a right-winger crazy. Help build a home of progressives by becoming a TYT member. Click the link in the description box below.
Donald Trump visited Pittsburgh today, obviously following the tragic murder of 11 people at the Tree of Life Synagogue over the weekend. This despite the fact that in advance of him coming there, many people in the community, including leaders, religious and political leaders, had an issue with him coming. There was this gigantic petition of people saying they would prefer if he did not. But Trump and First Lady Melania Trump actually did end up visiting on Tuesday. He said this about what he planned to do when he got there. I'm also going to the hospital to see the officers and some of the people that were so badly hurt. I really look forward to going. I would have done it even sooner, but I didn't want to disrupt any more than they already had disruption. So that's a word jumble, but there's nothing particularly offensive there, I guess. And maybe it's an acknowledgement that his presence there is not necessarily that helpful. And I'm glad that he's at least saying he's enthusiastic about going. He had previously given out a kind of lukewarm statement, about what had happened there. And we later found out through the New York Times that the only reason he did that is because Jared and Ivanka pressured him to do so. So he appears to be taking it slightly more seriously. However, he's not gonna have a lot of company on this trip because both House Speaker Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell were unable to make the trip due to scheduling conflicts, with Ryan's office noting he wasn't able to make it on such short notice. Well, I mean, that is generally what happens when there's like terror attacks and people need to go there. But that's his excuse. House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi and Senate Minority Leader Charles Schumer also decided not to attend, although probably for different reasons. And so it seems like, obviously the Democrats don't want to be there with him, but the Republicans don't seem to be all that enthusiastic about it either.
And there's some chance he'll get booed.
Well, there were protests when he showed up, actually. There were quite a few, apparently groups of hundreds of people protesting his arrival there.
I think it's interesting that he showed up for there because they never even acknowledged the 2 black people who were murdered in the Kroger by a white supremacist before the synagogue shooting. But I guess this is big enough for him to get some press and make it about him. And the words that he uses, I'm looking forward to going, playing happy. Like it's just, it's just so tone deaf, my favorite term, which people say said on Twitter because I say it so much. But it's just so offensive and it's so disrespectful to the people who lost ones. These people are grieving. They are planning, they're in the middle of funerals. They're grieving and they don't want political drama to play, out while they're doing what they need to do with their loved ones who they're laying to rest. A Holocaust survivor died for being Jewish, for crying out loud. I just think that he's opportunistic and he's a narcissist, which we know, and this is an opportunity for him to go show his ugly face and go exploit the pain of other people, and we gotta shut it down. Don't tweet about it. Everybody turn your backs on him so he can go away.
Yeah, so look, a president going after a tragedy like this, I find perfectly normal. But the problem is the context of Donald Trump, right? So we're gonna show you a video from Charlottesville. So this is what the alt-right chanted back then.
Jews will not replace us! Jews will not replace us! Jews will not replace us!
After that, he said, there are good people on both sides. So if you're a normal president, I disagree with you, George W. Bush, whoever, right? And boy, I mean, there's an argument to be made, I disagreed with Bush more than Trump, that he did more damage than Trump. But he wasn't anti-Semitic. He never said there are good people on the Nazi side. So if he goes to an event like this, that makes perfect sense, right? Trump, who had to be coaxed into saying, hey, it's a tragedy, who said there are good people on both sides after they murdered Heather Heyer, ran over 30 people, and chanted the Jews will not replace us. I think the temerity to show up after another right-winger kills Jewish Americans, our brothers and sisters, like that. Why do you think the other politicians don't want to show up with him? A guy who clearly encouraged both violence and anti-Semitism, not pretending he cares. Nobody wants a piece of that.
I want to say this too, because I'm so tired of people saying, oh, he has a Jewish son-in-law. One of the Proud Boys has a black wife. Let me just be clear so that we don't have to discuss this again because it's getting old. You can be married to a Jewish person, married to a black person, married to a Latino, and still be a racist. And that person can just be a self-hating minority or not even well aware of the racism that's around them. But please stop saying that Donald Trump has Jewish grandchildren or children that are half Jewish. Or it is insulting to people of color when you use the example, oh, he hangs out with black people, that means he's not a racist. Some of the things that Donald Trump has said are very problematic. There are good people on both sides. We're not exaggerating. That's very problematic. That one young woman that lost her life in Charlottesville, people forgot about her like she was not a human being. And that mother said, my daughter is not a talking point. You will not politicize that. And I'm sorry, Jake, I don't see Donald Trump as a president. So him going to Pittsburgh is not, I see him as a celebrity who is constantly trying to get likes. And that is why I don't think he should show his face in Pittsburgh. Let those people grieve in peace.
So the only excuse that some people use is they say, well, look, it's not that he's anti-Semitic for all the reasons that Ida just explained and shot down, but it's that he knows that his base is anti-Semitic. That's why he says there's good people on both sides. He's just trying to encourage his base. Well, congratulations to him. He encouraged them into murdering 11 Jews in a synagogue in Pittsburgh. Right. So I guess well played if you're in that encouraging Nazi business.
And what a bizarre line to draw that he's not anti-Semitic, he just wants more people to be anti-Semitic. What do you think is the actual distinction between those two things? In practice, what is actually different? And by the way, of course, anytime it's, hey, can we put together a list of awful things Donald Trump has done on X subject? You'll forget about 90% of them, but I mean, we can't help but remember when he tweeted out the thing about Hillary Clinton with how corrupt she was and how she's influenced by globalists with the Star of David in the picture. When he gave the speech on Holocaust Remembrance Day and didn't mention Judaism or Jews during that entire thing. That seemed a little bit weird, and you could go on and on, of course. Yeah.
He's not a racist, but racism is not a deal breaker for him, I guess.
And also, the people in this community, some want him to go there, some don't. That's up to them, really. But we also have to understand that we're gonna have a talk later on in the show about sort of his generalized responsibility for violence. But in this particular case, the whack job who ended up shooting up the Tree of Life Synagogue, the thing that apparently set him off that he was posting about on social media just hours before was the conspiracy theories about the caravan. That is what actually set him off. And that is basically all that right-wing media and right-wing politicians had been pushing in the week leading up to that shooting. Now that doesn't mean that they pulled the trigger, doesn't mean they put the gun in his hands, but they were trying to get people worked up and scared. Most people, when you scare them, just vote Republican. Some people shoot up a place. That is the America that we live in.
Well, look, they may not have pulled the trigger, but as good Christians, life and death is in the power of the tongue. And you're not supposed to use your words to incite, and you are judged by what comes out of your mouth. You're accountable. The Bible also says, better you not be born than to mislead my sheep. So when you hit me with this Bible stuff, you can't just decide what parts of the Bible you want to use to justify what you want. This is wrong, and if you didn't pull the trigger, you should be praying for forgiveness and feel accountable for using your words to cause those people to lose their lives.
2 easy ways to follow the Young Turks. One is hit the subscribe button down below, then you're a TYT subscriber. And second is ring the bell. And when you do that on YouTube, you're notified of our videos.